if you're asking yourself, am I of any use? Am I too young? You look at the Bible and the response from God is, you're not too young. Let the people not despise your youth. That was an advice to Timothy from Paul. We know the story of David, how God chose him when he was deemed too young to be counted and just left to look after the sheep in the fields. Today we are looking at a little girl, so precious, and yet she has no name in the Bible. But she had been seized, captured as part of the wars in those days. So she was taken as a slave, and she was given to Naaman's wife to look after her. So she was a maid in the house, a little maid, just a little maid. But she cared for that family. In spite of the way she was captured and brought out of her family, taken away from her environment, she cared for that family. She had a very positive attitude towards the people she was serving. You know, she was one of those maids. We know in Nigeria what it means. All these little boys and girls that are taken away from their family, sometimes it's even the parents that give them away. And then they become servants in someone's household. But that little girl cared for that family. And she looked at her master. The man was a good man, but he was a leper. And that was really frowned upon those days. It was a hardship for him, a hindrance in what he did. He was a man of war, but he could not be close to the people he led. So one day the girl was just chatting, probably in the kitchen with her mistress, and said, if only my master would go to the prophet in Israel, he would be cured from his disease. That's the best she knew. She was still young. But she had an idea that that prophet was key to a change, a potential circumstance, such change. And you see another thing, our chat was not dismissed. The lady thought about it, told the husband told the king, and so it went and went. And if you read that chapter, you see that eventually he went on his way with a lot of gifts. And he went to the king. The king said, hi, I cannot do anything myself. Eventually he came to the prophet, and the prophet said, okay, this is the way if you want to get healed. And that way, it meant that he had to be humbled. He had to come from his position and recognize that he needed God. But eventually, after some struggle, he obeyed the command that was given to him, and he came out fully healed. We don't hear about that little girl anymore, but I'm sure that she was so glad. You see, she changed a whole circumstance. Not only blessing the family she was with, but contributing a major part to the healing of our master, bringing our master close to the God of Israel. So, without her, without that innocent little chat that she shared, Naaman would have stayed a leper for life, and he would have died an early death. but he changed. And I'm sure his position in the army changed. The victories he got were all part of that healing. So if you think you are too small, too little, not educated enough, not knowledgeable enough, if you think that you don't know enough of the Bible to share, forget about all this. They are excuses that God doesn't need. God wants to use you, to bless you, to make you be part of his blessing and healing. No matter how young you are, I want to encourage you. Be that little girl today, that little girl that shared about God's healing.